11K hype! That viewer count! What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're in game number 2, and it is going to be going down on Coda. Spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, though, it's going to be the blue Protoss player from Nerchio, Nightend.
The top left, as the red Zerg, it's Acer's Nerchio.
And big shout out to Spins Butter, 5-month resub, just before we get this game underway. But, man, Nerchio, okay, that was a really, let's be honest, that was a passive game. It was kind of a boring game. It was a lot of posing and posturing and potential attacks. And for Nightend's sake, he never really got that catch of units. He never got that net of a force field down to really secure a bunch of Roach kills or Hydra kills. And we really saw how badly that kind of led up to the end of the game. I mean, Nerchio had lost, what, it was barely 2,000 resources by the time they finally got into a fight. And because of that, he had a massive bank. He was able to get +3 tech. He could do what he wanted at that point.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Nightend's going to look at that game. He might be blaming Van Eye a little bit and hoping that a new map will increase his chances not to be holed in as he was. Because the thing is that, you know, in Van Eye, when they get past that plateau and they have this big army and they get that concave, you know, you're choked in, but even further by SimCity that was supposed to help you against like Ling run-bys, you know? Like you really only had that small little area to run back into, and if you try to move out, he was either blinking forward to get a concave, but you know, losing the blink as a micro utility, or he was going through a choke into a concave of a Roach Hydra army. Like there was not really a perfect solution other than the, you know, don't let it get there.
Well, for me, that's, you bring up, like, there's no space to blink or whatever. That's, for me, the problem, though. Nightend had, like, in my opinion, a terrible composition going into the late game. The Templar came out a little bit later. There was almost no Immortals in the fight. The Blink Stalker composition is great. Blink Stalkers are so good with +3 weapon upgrades versus Hydras and Roaches, but it never stayed on just Hydras and Roaches. And a lot of that's because Nightend never put any pressure on. He never wanted to risk moving out on the map and getting caught. And I really think it was that tentativeness that killed him the most. Because, like, let's say it even lost Stalkers and traded out for a gold base or something, right? Maybe it's even not cost-effective at the slightest. It frees up that supply. He realizes it's a transition Ultras, gets Immortals, gets Colossus, gets what he needs to actually fight that game. I mean, the Tempest came out so darn late as well. I mean, there's already 16 Broodlords on his 4th. By the time you throw it out the Fleet Beacon, that's never going to go well.
Yeah. If Nightend looks at that and says, like, he totally disagrees with you, and me, actually, I kind of have the same beliefs that, no, I would never be able to push into that concave. I would have died. I wouldn't have done it, you know, cost-effectively enough. Then I guess the only other thing I could say was, well, maybe your tech transitions should have been faster. So, like, getting that Storm faster or getting the Tempest faster could have maybe saved that late game. But a lot of it was already going downhill once he was contained for as long as he was. But it is a different map, but I'm sure that he's glad for that. Coda, not really the same problem as Van Eye being in that little choking little spot, but there is a well that you may or may not be stuck into. I mean, there's a concave position, you know, it's not full of chokes. But it's also a question of, is he going to go into the macro game again? Or is he just going to be like, F that? No, thank you, Bluebirds.
I really think, for Nightend's sake, like, Blink Stalker, like, all that opening, like, it was good, it wasn't bad. I just would have liked to have seen him use it differently. And as far as what Nerchio does, it's all going to be reactive, right? Like, that's general rule of thumb for Zerg. You tend to be a reactive player. Yes, you come to the match thinking, I want to go generally Roach Hydra, but you can't do that if your opponent's getting really heavy on the pressure. You can't just go straight to lair tech. It's a lot of rules.
I wonder if that was going to be space for a 3rd gateway, but it is just for another pylon, so 3 gateway, probably going to throw down a Forge as well, and expand. There you go.
That harsh tournament delay, guys. I see some folks discussing the viewer number in the chat. I guess hyping it up was a mistake. Yeah, we have to use a very long delay on these streams because it is a very important match. This determines like the careers of players, and as much as we would love to do this with no delay, tournament rules are that we use it, and we, well, no problem, listen to the rules, playing by the rules.
Yeah. Do you know if we're going to get another match, by the way?
I do not. This could be our last one. It might not be. I don't know if any of the other ones have not already started. I will poke and find out right now, actually, because I guess that'd be good to know.
Okay, yeah. The other matches you guys didn't know is Marine Lord versus Theo. I think they're talking about starting, so they may have already started, but I don't know about Rhett and Coolty. Coolty being out Cross, a little bit surprising. Just, I mean, Cross, he's surprising because he got this far, so his form must be good. And then Coolty defeats him, and that's even more surprising. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins out on that.
Yeah, bums me out because Cross is one of those Terran players I just can't help but love. Does cool things, earned a place in my heart with those auto turrets. I'll never forget them. versus Slivko on Habitation Station.
Yeah.
One of those 2-hour-long games where Zomgrub and I lose our minds, but it was worth it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it is a bit of maybe a surprising result. But like I said, a lot of the fan favorites are already moving through since there are 4 qualifiers with 4 spots each. That's quite a lot of players. Maybe not to the guys that don't make it, but to the guys that do, they're going to be happy they're not in NA, right?
Yeah, I poked the admin, by the way. I'll let you know if and when I know if we got other things coming up, but not because we're trying to write these guys off. I actually do believe Nightend could bring this series back, but it's good to know what will be coming up next, if anything. More gateways coming down in the main. He is going to churn out those weapon upgrades. Nerchio intentionally going for Vengeful Sax, perhaps.
He did add it to the last of that game, but I thought it was just I'm so rich that me do whatever I want.
Well, I find this interesting because we have seen him do cute things like bailing drops, and you know, I don't know what he would have in store for this. It's oftentimes a misclick, but I guess it might actually be intentional this time.
Roach Hydra drops, not something we usually see, but I could see how they could be effective. The thing is, guys, that usually it's like, you know, that's a lot of gas for Vengeful Sax, first of all, and technically you don't even need Overlord speed for, you know, PVZ, so that's another gas sink. But it's also just that if you do drop Roach Hydra, not Banelings, it's like, well, was it more effective than just attacking like forward, like up front, or what?
It really does depend on the precision. I mean, even if it's no Banelings, let's just say it's Roaches. Like, is it worth floating over Zealots to land on top of Stalkers? They'll still kill you anyways. That sort of idea, or vice versa even. But Hydras are coming out. Overlords are spreading all over the map, and I'm really curious to see how he uses it.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, dead real quick.
I was wondering if he's going to use it to harass.
Yo,
you know, that'd be also kind of a cool style.
No burrow tunneling clause, but he's like, swoop in with the Overlords, pick up the Roaches that get stuck, treat it like a meta.
It would be cool. It would be cool, but usually Overlord drops are way too chaotic to do that Nitro.
Well, this zoom function is being a bit odd. Nerchio's got a huge supply of units, and I mean, really, it's so unconventional to see any form of Overlord drop, but he's actually going to do it. Now, on one hand, you could argue this is just toying with Nightend because of that game 1, and Nerchio is like the guy to BBM and just kind of do this to rub it in someone's face, but it's actually going to be really effective, like objectively and strategically speaking, because he's going to get past this wall that would be force fielded forever. You get past this one ramp where one force field keeps the whole army out, and he'll actually have maybe an exit strategy. I see that with the question mark, but either way, gets here to the main on top of the production. It's not like compromising the production of a Terran player, but it's still quite scary.
It still like lends the like, you know, Nightend wasn't choked out from a ramp. Nerchio didn't get on top of the ramp, so he did find a decent position, and force fields do go down. I think
the Overlords are abandoning. Come back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. See, the Overlords, you need to do that. You now want to be supply block because you were just, you know, whatever with the Overlords.
This did fully draw the army away from the third base. I don't think it's enough DPS here, though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, this is kind of, Nerchio is still up if you supply, though. 50 more Roaches are on the way. This is not
actually
all in.
Looks like he will get this in the end. The Stalkers thought we're going to buy a lot more time. Blake's behind the pylons. There's a lot of pylons. There's a lot of probes. A lot of probes going down as well, and that, you know, even if that was just the bait and no intended actual damage done, that still ends up being worth it by canceling the third.
Yep.
Not even canceling, killing the third. And the Mothership Core, no less.
Definitely agree. Nerchio is found at the same supply that they started, so looking pretty good. He has, well, not as good upgrades as Nightend. +2 is on the way, Burrow as well. An Observer is with Nightend's army, so won't be caught by surprise, but can he deal with Roach Hydra? He's trying. He's trying to push it back. I'm surprised Nerchio doesn't take any pot shots. He's just retreating and losing a lot of Roaches on the way back.
Yeah, but the thing is, he still has that really large army supply. Normally, you write it off, like, oh, it's Roaches, that's this inflated supply, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of Hydras behind this, too. Not a whole ton of force fields, but there's definitely enough to take at least 1 or 2 good engagements. And we'll see if those 1 or 2 good engagements can thin out the herd enough that Nightend can take a real fight. But Concave at the bottom of the ramp's never something you're going to want to fight with. Try to bait Nerchio up that ramp. Not likely to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, no. This is buying time for Nerchio to get Burrow, speed on Hydras, and +2. But it's also buying time for Nightend to get that third back up. So both just actually playing a pretty good game here. Nerchio does take a 4th and a Hive. +2 almost done. Come on. Even with +2 done, it's like Nerchio could follow up on that ramp. In fact, there are the force fields that are pretty good.
He slips them all. It was okay, I'd say, because he slips out with all the Hydras.
Well, they're supposed to be. He just missed one force field.
Yeah, you gotta get those kills.
The fourth base getting up unscouted might be a big deal for Nightend. I mean, eventually you're going to assume they get a fourth base, but does Nightend have the economy to squeeze out a warp prism thing, and go for the top right base? You know, he did lose his third base, and it's only just now running again.
Well, I don't know, this game, as good as it is for Nightend, much better than last game, of course. Still not exactly in a commanding position. He's still trying to rebuild that economy he had lost earlier. 53 probes. Finally has the base mining, but no geysers. So, as a Protoss player, you're playing normally pretty gas intense. What are you to do if you don't have that money for the late game? You're not going to be warping in Templar anytime soon, much less making Archons.
I guess just kind of going all in off the back of this, you know. Maybe better because this game has been back and forth. Maybe worse because it's been back and forth.
I'm loving the drops, man. Like, Nerchio, what are you doing? I love it.
You could have tried to burrow. The observer was lagging a little bit.
Well, he actually depowered some of the gateways, so that's kind of nice. Not enough DPS here to really...
More.
Yeah, well, that and this pylon. Oh god, this juicy pylon. Not gonna get killed though. We do have a similar... He just like grabs some roaches and a Hydra every time he goes for a run by?
This is coincidence.
Probably gonna get pulled into it. Oh, there we go. It's an awkward moment when you don't mineral lock. A couple overlords dying. It's actually really badly supply blocks Nerchio, but I definitely tell you, he's feeling confident right now in his position in the game. They've given away so much like this, kills a lot of probes, destroys the economy, and if he can hold on to this, I mean, the Nightend supply is low, but that's because his probes went down. He's still got a pretty good army supply sitting on 101. Not Dalmatians, but Stalkers.
Nerchio just goes,
Yeah. You're coming down a ramp. Not gonna happen. Kills the third again. Oh.
Yeah. Nightend, he lost power on some of those gateways. He's gonna lose gateway here. He doesn't have a third base. That the you know, Blink Stalker Lands can last a very long time because you're in a pretty decent economy behind it, but it's gonna change drastically with no third. This might help Nerchio, or it might just be enough Stalkers already for Nightend to push through.
I kind of feel like as long as Nerchio can keep making any amount of Hydralisks behind this, though, like, production should win. I see with a question mark because I'm not entirely sure. This is a lot of Stalkers. But he's taking out a good chunk of them on the front lines. I mean, Nightend is pretty much out of cash at home.
He is running low, and he's going to start running low on roaches as well. There's only Hydras on the way. Bringing in the drones, he is desperate.
Overlord's perhaps going to soak some hits. I mean, they're not going to do much else. They're not going to save the Hydras. Nightend takes a pretty good fight, but as Nerchio falls back, he realizes maybe there's +3s on the way. Maybe he realizes that more Hydras are coming up. These Overlords going down. I mean, he's going to get supply blocked yet again, if not careful. Third base being given away in a very cost-ineffective way.
Nightend might just have done it here with his counterattack.
Like,
Nightend's
really?
supply
Yeah.
now way ahead. Army supply, that is.
This is kind of crazy. He really, I don't think even he was expecting. Like, this was kind of that desperate throw. Like, my last chances in the game. Go for it. YOLO. The hatchery just kind of blocks everything out, and better be him at the end of the game.
These guys are so nice to each other.
Yeah, it's anyways, I really applaud the moves of Nerchio. They were cool to see. Didn't work out though, and game number 2 is